And keep it right there. Oh, Balk. He balked. He balked. Did you see him start? He gives him another run. He certainly did. He started up. He stopped. That was a balk, clearly.
Kensing will throw to first base, expecting
that
Morgan
is a
to
balk.
take off, and he balked.
Yep.
So now a run will come in. Both runners advance,
Yep,
and the Pirates now will lead it 5-0.
Home plate umpire Brian Runge had it right. It looks like his foot's.
As long as he's willing to do that, his numbers against left-handers are going to be better. And a balk called. Third base umpire Paul Scribner called a balk on Padilla. That'll bring Washington, the skipper of Texas, out to have a word with him.
Travis Buck could get out in front. He's got the speed of Crosby.
They call the balk. Wow. A's are on the board.
1984. We revisit the championship season, and there is a balk called against Randy Wells. I've got two pitchers in the booth here with me.
Pitch in mind. Make him throw that pitch as Pelfrey stumbles and commits a balk. Sandoval moves over to second. And you have to be careful when you start talking about cheating.
Oh, no. When I say cheating, I mean on the infield. All right, well, on the infield as a second baseman.
A balk has been called against Pelfrey, his second balk of the game. In the Beijing Olympics last summer, he is 0 for 2 in this game.
Did it again.
He did it again. His third balk of the game.
And the second one this inning, one being called.
The only thing I can think of is that there's some issue about getting the sign and not being comfortable with what it is.
Uh-oh. Yeah, he called a balk. And Mark Burley can't believe it because he's been using that move for as long as he's been in the league.
Thinking about it, but we talked about it.
He's called a balk again.
And now he just throws him out of the ball.
Joe Burley out of
I'll tell you what, Joe West deserves a suspension is what he does. He needs a rest.
Well,
he needs a rest.
He's interjected himself into this park too much.
No, but just a bunch of good line drives.
He's got him at first base. A great pickoff move. He called a balk.
Now balk is being called here. Kendrick will come across, and it's tied at 1.
3-1 the count to Brian Schneider.
You're out there trying. Oh, that's a balk. They're going to get him.
Third balk.
Wow.
In 3 starts for Maya.
Now, see, that's just, we'll show you.
Announcing the attendance, 23,429 here on Sunday at Peck. Oh, almost had him at the throw. Oh, they called him out anyway. It appeared that with that high throw that Hairston was able to dive back in safely.
You call a balk?
And now they're going to say a balk, and he is not out. He goes to second base on a balk, the second one in 2 games, and that brings.
If the tip takes hold, another balk. Unbelievable. 2 balks in the inning, and the Braves have a 1-0 lead.
Well, he is. Okay. So, yes. Because I was thinking, Torrey Hunter. And now a balk is called on Blackburn, and the Royals get an easy run.
Now he's a man at third, 1 out into the 8th. And a balk has been called, and that's going to give the run to Ramirez and the Marlins.
I think there was a flinch too.
Who earlier in this series became the first player with 100 runs scored in the postseason, and now a balk on Tommy Hunter.
Padres again down to the last strike, and he just balked! He just balked to tie the game! Lynch balks home the tying run! You see Henley saying it, the plate umpire James Hoyt, second base umpire Wally Bell, the dugout said balk.
And the Rays are going to get a run out of that. That's a balk. So they don't need the ground ball as Brignac is.
2-1 Nationals with a lead, top of the 5th. They call the balk on Hernandez as he went to pick off Cabrera. And guess who called the balk?
Remember last night they had the double homer to start the game, and then 9 straight singles after that. We got a balk.
Yes, we do. Number 5.
Run will score. Brantley comes home to tie the game. And the 3-2 pitch. No, Peavy's not sure. And a balk is called. And that's going to bring home the second run of the inning. Peavy he wasn't on the same page with Castro and wasn't sure what.
Pretty slow. And a little higher.
That's a balk. That is a balk. Everybody's going to move up. Jeff Houston on it first. You got it. And then Jerry Crawford said it.
He heard me. We've talked about that quite a lot, but of all the pitchers that we have, he and Lannon.
And there's a balk called by Balkin Bob Davidson. Marquis wants to know what he did, and Bob Davidson, who has called more balks than any other umpire in Major League Baseball, rings up Marquis in the first inning, and he's not happy about it. Marquis is reenacting his stretch, and now Jim Riggleman wants to know what's going on.
He's scared.
And that's a balk. And Sanchez is coming in.
I'm going to take that as a good omen.
That's an omen.
Pitches and starts swinging the bat. Oh, they've got him picked up.
It's a balk. You can't do that.
It's a balk on Zach Duke, and Adam Dunn is safe at second base. now he's Morgan in the game to play center field. There's another balk by a Pittsburgh pitcher, and Bernardine is going to second base.
Inning Tribe down 2-1. Johnny Peralta. We got a balk right there. Liriano just balked in the tying run.
Boy, I wasn't watching. I didn't see it. Did you see anything that he did?
That is going to be a balk, and he's going to get a run.
Wow. Caught his cleat. Caught his.
That's a pitch. Is the second base umpire saying balk?
No, the second base umpire says
yes,
it's a balk, and it should be.
Romero with a peek, and Patterson's off. He's got it picked off. But no, it's called a balk instead. And so Romero, it looked to me as if he was coming home, and pretty obvious to me that it was a balk. And
time is called. They call a balk. They call the balk. It's 5-2.
Well, this has definitely been the year of the balk.
Time asked for a grab off. The balk! The balk is called, and the Mets have tied the game.
Performance by the pitcher on the day before to rest that bullpen a little bit.
Oh, and by the way, Zimmerman faces Chris Carpenter. We have a balk call. That would be the second balk of the night.
Get to know second baseman Chris Getz as part of our Profiles in Royalty series. And with Bob Davidson behind the plate, folks.
Immediately, well, he doesn't slip. He just steps wrong, and he balked. Immediately, when you do not.
Blake bluffing down the line, asking balk, and the balk has been called by Tim Timmons, the first base umpire, and the Dodgers win it 5-4.
And they call the balk. Wow. This game's tied. Home plate umpire James Hoy called the balk on Garza.
And he just looked to Joe Madden and told him what he did.
That's a balk.
Game's over.
That's a balk, and the Sox win it. This ball game is over. Yes. Oh, and 1. Whoop, they're going to call the balk. And the Dodgers get the run, and look out. Tracy is on the steps, and they have called the balk on Rogers.
Yeah, just walked the previous hitter. And you're thinking, oh, a balk.
So there's a balk.
Balk and Bob.
Bob Davidson is indicating to Miguel Tejada, you score. And we're talking to Ken Rosenthal about the net.
And now you've lost control. You have no control.
And that is a balk. The runners move up. Stumbled on the mound some way, somehow. So now a base open. The 2-strike pitch. Oh, he balked. What happened?
Yes, he did. I don't know.
What in the world happened? The Indians will get a run As Hanahan able to come home and score, and Grady Sizemore goes to third, it looked like he was ready to deliver the ball and just said, stop, timeout.
But obviously, if you can put runners to second, third, they call a balk.
And Angel Hernandez and Joe West were both right on that. They said that he started his motion, and Garland.
Might help a little bit.
Yeah.
Might help a lot.
A balk is called, and it's 1-0 Houston.
Oh, anyway, what we got going on here? Bud Norris balked in there on last night. Rayburn.
Yeah, that should.
And that's a balk. That's the second balk of the ball game. Aceves went into his windup and stopped, and then broke for a balk.
They're not holding him. He might take off for second. And a balk called. A balk was called. The Braves win the game on a balk. Can you believe it?
Now, I like using the big part of the ballpark and just try to get you a base hit in this situation.
A balk is called. Roberts forced the balk. The step off there by Coleman, and he balked, and there's a run.
Play. And a balk. A balk is called against Wolf, and that'll bring in the first run of the game. Day comes home, and it's 1-0 New York.
And Chatwood balks, so that'll get Mitch Meyer to the plate. Called by the home plate umpire Greg Gibson. Chatwood was leaning in for the sign. He started to stand upright, and he stopped.
To score another fly ball. That's a difference in. That was a balk, wasn't it?
Victorino's going to score. They just yelled out balk. The first base umpire, Bruce Dreckman, was the first one to call it. And it's 2-0 Phillies.
Now, he was on the pitching rubber there and moved his hands before he stepped off.
That's right around Jim Thome.
And a balk is called, and that's going to bring home Ezekiel Carrera. He just flat out muffed it.
Cole Garner struck out against John Lannon. We got a balk. Well, it wouldn't be
Bob
a game.
Davidson.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a game without Bob Davidson calling a balk. We said the under/over on balks was 2 tonight.
Wilson dancing down the line, and the balk is charged. The balk will tie the game. Scudero was doing a little dancing, and it took.
And 9 hitters coming up here.
Or last night 1 for 4, and a balk. That'll put Drew on the pay station.
2-2 on its way. That's a balk. It is 2-0 Angels. That's one way to get them home.
So 17 games will be left for the Giants, 18 for the Dodgers. And let's see, they called a balk. Yep, they're calling a balk on Ryan Vogelsong. And for Bruce Bochy,
but that's what he got Grady to do, roll over on a 3-1 changeup.
Oh, he just balked, and it's going to bring home the tying run.
How about
Holy
that?
smokes, Luke Hochshaver gift wraps it for the Indians, and we're back to even.
Replaced in early June. Now the runners break, and they're going to get up and caught. This goes out to Sizemore, and he is out at second base. Upton tried to get back to the bag, and wait a minute. We're going to have conflicting calls here, and I think there's a balk going to be called, and I think it's Jim Reynolds.
I asked Davey about Storen being available. Does this tell you maybe, hey, I want to get 2 or 3 more runs here? And Herrera's been called for a balk, and so a run will score. Desmond gets second base. More importantly, Lombardozzi gets the plate as Herrera.
And that is going to be a balk, and a run is going to score. Bruce Dreckman, the home plate umpire, called the balk on Randy Wolf.
Major league save. Now the stretch and the pitch to Weeks. And that's a balk. A balk is charged to Jason Vargas, and you could hear the home plate umpire Tim Welke make that call last year.
That's a balk. That is a balk. Ball never left his hand. And here comes the Rockies' 12th run, Spilborghs. Well, it did leave his hand. It dropped behind him. That was odd.
for Denard Span. And a balk call. They're going to call a balk. Alfonso Marquez will send Rivera in from third, and Eric Wedge palms up, wondering what on earth happened.
Rowan goes and will be tagged out at second by Carroll.
The 21-year-old Jesus Montero. Well, he did some damage. That's a balk. Albuquerque called for a balk by the home plate umpire. And the runners will advance. Rodriguez will score. 5-1 Yankees. That is a balk. A balk. Cabrera started then stopped at second base.
It is tied for the Major League lead. 15 go-ahead RBIs. Is that a balk? And a balk called.
Broke late.
That tells me that the throw was probably going to go to third base. That's a balk.
That is a balk, and here comes Stewart down the lane. 3-0 Colorado. 6.43 ERA. And a balk is called. Looked like he almost dropped the baseball. Then he reached for it, and he's balked home a run. Looked like he lost his grip on the ball and kind of flinched. And that was picked up by Kerwin Danley, who called
18 homers. Quick move to first, runner back. And they have called him for a balk. The move was too quick, apparently. It's going to put the tying run in scoring position.
You got a lead now. They called the balk. Kershaw's called for a balk by Tim Timmons. And he's pleading his case. Mandalay started out. He's going to.
Well, that's a balk move. That is a balk. Good call. The first base umpire was right on the same path as you, Wheels. It's going to move Rollins into scoring position. Pierre still could be up.
That was a balk. So a run scores. Daniel Bard is trying to sell Chris Guccione.
He started now 20 of the first 37 games for Tampa Bay.
Well, that was almost a balk.
And it was a balk.
Yep, there was definitely hesitation.
And he's been charged with a balk now for nothing to do with what we're talking about. To second base goes Joyce. Second balk of the night, charged for the Red Sox pitching. Time call, they're going to charge a balk. They are going to charge a balk. Morales is charged with a balk this time. It's a third of the game for the Red Sox.
Opportunity to sit with Pujols and about 6 of the guys. There's a balk, so we got the 1 run in.
His third balk of the season.
And called a balk. Home plate umpire Ron Colbert called a balk on Matt Latos, giving the Diamondbacks a run and pushing Goldschmidt to second. He'll cross the plate.
Away from Worth. Give him right center field. You know, oh, they called a balk. Why? Because it's a great move?
Apparently. Tony Black stepping up on that.
Time. And a balk apparently called, and they will.
Had a pitcher on the mound. He's hitting fourth for a reason.
He called the balk. That's right. Edwin Encarnacion picked up on it. He started up and then stopped, and Edwin was the first one that pulled.
They should get a ball that hits, and what it'll do sometimes is go the opposite way. That's a ball.
That's a balk.
Even though
Victorino will score. Utley goes to second. And the Phils take a 1-0 lead. There was nobody there to take a throw. That's going to be a balk. And Dirks will come in to score. Longoria was way off the bag.
You throw a pitch like that 2-0, Tommy, it's
very rarely
A
called
balk.
a strike. It's a balk.
Yeah, and Reyes caused it.
And here comes Reyes. The game is tied at 6.
As the Orioles put another run across, they've scored in each of the last 3 innings, and a balk will score another one. So Luke comes on to get the left-hander out, and he balks.
Everybody relaxes. That's a swing and a foul.
I think they called a balk.
Oh, the runners keep on going. It must have been a balk on Kennedy.
They can find at the upper levels of the minor leagues, believe they could be part of their future. Oh boy.
Well, that's a balk. So the Royals regain the lead as Derek Lowe loses his footing.
He's peeking through the gate now, and we've got a balk. Move the runners up. Okay, we'll take that.
That's a balk called on Francisco by the second base umpire, fielded Colbreth, and Nelson will jog to second base.
Morales getting picked off, but he balked. Balk called immediately by Brian Gorman, the first base umpire, on that move.
Here we go. Okay.
Balk called on Volquez. Balk is called, and in to score is Eaton.
A 2-0 game in the 7th. Dude is 0 for 2 tonight.
And a balk by Avilan as he fell off the mound and did not release the ball. So Wright will go to third.
And who's in charge of that pacing? Now Roberts takes off, and in mid-delivery, Mendoza stopped. So that's a balk.
Yeah, looking for a slider here.
And a balk. Russell balks, and the game is tied. Holt will score. McCutcheon down to second base.
The infield for Atlanta comes in for Robert Andino. And a balk. It's 2-0. Delgado balks home Pierce.
They were running, and Cishek snuffed it out, and he calls him for a balk. They move it over, and Cishek got into his delivery, and they have called him for a balk. You step to third. You can see Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, said, you step to third.
Did he balk? He balked in a run. Now we've seen everything. Scoring is Knicks. Jeter moves to second, and the Yankees lead 11-8.
Oh, he has a very strong arm, and you have to figure as Perez. I guess time was he called the balk. Yeah, he did balk. I thought time had been called, but he balked.
Carter's going to trot home. Yeah, it's 2-0 Athletic.
Brian had a look at it, you guys, I promise.
And they calling a balk on that move, and here comes Maben with the first run of the game. Hernandez with a little herky-jerk and trying to pick off Headley, and a balk called, and the Padres have a 1-0 lead.
Ah, the fake to third, throw to first, but nobody covers second. And it's a balk. How about that?
Oh, that was very close to a balk, and now it is called, and Cabrera will come home to score. Cabrera darted almost halfway down the line unimpeded.
And that will be a balk. Nolasco didn't release the baseball.
Harrell gets called for a balk. He's saying he stepped off, but when he didn't like the sign.
It does make you wonder. Campana was leading, but a balk is called on Cueto. So Campana now at second.
Or Tommy Hunter. Doing some dancing down the line at third.
That's a balk.
Was called it as a balk.
That's got to be a balk. Yes.
And the Red Sox will tie the game. Boy, that messed up.
Left field. And a balk has been called on Wilton Lopez.
Wilton started to move his hand as if he was going to.
Desmond at third, and a balk has been called again against Wilton Lopez. A run will score.
Bob Davidson again. Boy, and
Wilton Lopez just dropped the ball. He is so...
Rios 1 for 3 in his career against Balk. And a block. A block has been called. Kinsler will score. Wow. Beltran is second. The Rangers take a 4-3 lead.
Called him for a balk. Dickey is going to come over and plead his case, and Mike Everett called him for a balk.
A balk has been called. It's 6-0.
There's nobody there. It's a balk. Alan Porter is the third base umpire, and he's going to tell Paul Goldschmidt to go to home plate.
Yeah, Martin goes to second. It looked like he had thoughts about the old fake to third.
Lester, of course, hitting here. Red Sox having the pitcher hit. He's squaring. And a balk is charged here to Lincecum. He just stopped his delivery, and a run will score for the Red Sox. It is 2-0. Lester was scoring.
Infield back. Nationals will give up a run. Is a balk. A balk is called. Strasburg balks, and the Marlins have a run. And that's the benefit of having a guy like Coughlin who's swinging a hot stick. It's another balk. Strasburg is balked again. Wow. He's balked 2 runs in.
Balk. This ball game is tied at 7.
Runners at the corners here. We've got a balk. Joe West all over it.
Abraham Almonte again.
That's a balk.
He must have heard something. Trying to give the Reds a lead. You're not allowed to do that anymore. That'll bring in the go-ahead run. You're not allowed to do the fake to third, fake to first anymore.
Well, it took longer into the season.
I think it would be the vaunted Giants rotation, allowing the most. That's a balk. The most home runs. Now you get checked on. Let's go make sure he's okay.
Balk. Or was time called? No, he said it's a balk. Yeah. Unless time was called, it was definitely a balk. And they called the balk.
Unbelievable. Well, it's the one thing we
With a bat rather than bunt or hit the ball with a bat.
That's a balk.
A balk was called on Longoria. Excuse me, on Escalona. That's huge. Now you're talking about a base hit tying up the game.
Mike Brenner's just called a balk. Wow, and the Phillies have scored their first run.
Nowhere to put him here with the bases loaded and 2 down in the bottom of the 13th. It's a balk and the Indians win it. Holy Toledo, can you believe that?
No, I can't.
Drives in these situations. 63% he gets the run in.
Balk.
And there's a balk. The game is tied at 1. As Cervelli jogs down and will touch up on home plate.
It's very, very tough as a switch hitter to be hot from both sides.
And they've called a block on Machu. And Buster Posey. And this is the chance for Bruce Bochy to get kicked
around the bases. And they do it again and have him picked off. Adam Eaton wants a balk called. And I think home plate umpire Paul Emmel did just that.
And he balked. Boy, it sure is. Danny Valencia caught Pineda by surprise. Valencia broke. Tim Leeper gave
Cleveland and 3 at Camden Yards against the Orioles. And a balk. And that'll make it 9-0 Yankees as Ellsbury scores and Teixeira moves to second.
Instinct was right to try to cut down Teixeira.
Here's a balk called by Fielding Culbreth, and the runners will move up.
Gregory Polanco, the club down 2-0, 2 outs. And a balk is going to be called. The Pirates are going to get a run. How about that? Bailey.
And a balk, and the Giants lead 3-1.
Well, that's a thank you very much.
If it doesn't come in and bounce it, it's a fly ball to center. Because that was the runners who were at first and second via the walk.
And a balk has just been called. So that'll put a runner into scoring position.
Might be in jeopardy in this inning. A balk is called against G. And that'll make his life more difficult.
You heard all the umpires all in a row jump out. And
that's a ball. It is a ball. So the A's will get a run on a balk by Scherzer. Reddick trots in. Callaspo goes.
Wow. Oh, called a balk.
Called a balk. And to second base goes Freddie Freeman.
Peavy's having an extreme amount of difficulty. Now, you can't argue a balk, so that's why.
The ball must look like a beach ball. And you recognize it out of the hand so quickly. There's a balk. Boxberger committed a balk. And Melky Cabrera will come in.
That last inning to get out of it with a double play.
That's a balk.
It looked a little funky.
Coming back in, he'll throw the slider away with a cut fastball.
Huge jump.
That's a
No,
balk.
that's a balk.
That's a balk.
That is a balk. And coming on home to tie up the baseball game is Stubbs.
0 for 5. And look out, they picked off. No, a balk is called. A balk is called on Sangrani to move a potential winning run into scoring position.
Wow.
Very small lead that time for Carp, and they're going to charge him with a balk. Carp will get second base.
That's big. Just take, hey, this here's the best player 1 through 9. We let the fans get involved, and certainly they can have a major influence. Oh, called the ball.
A balk here against Bolsoner allows Simmons to go down to second.
He called him for a balk. Angel Hernandez called Morales for a balk. He motioned it. Morales.
That's a balk. Balk. He never stopped.
Well, that was a good jump, and it looked like he balked.
That's why it was going to be a good jump.
It was a terrific jump.
TK running down the line and hold everything. The kid balk. Holy mackerel, the Dodgers get a run on a balk.
How about another big hit for Chris Colabello? That's got to be a half a dozen. Now they call him for the balk. He didn't stop. Another run comes in.
Kershaw working from the full windup. Ivor standing at third, Freeze at second, and it's Inetta over at first. Now they're calling it a balk.
It's the third balk against Kurt.
That's a balk. Little lean by Caminero, and Fowler's going to take third. He's filling up baseball big.
To the count. A balk has been called here on Cueto, so Herrera moves to second. 2 men out for Jimmy Nelson. And another balk has been called on Cueto, second one tonight.
Yeah, well, Angel Hernandez is known for that.
Dickey with that inside throw, and he's called for a balk. Second base umpire Jeff Nelson called a balk on Dickey.
Had him just a tad late. That was a good swing at it.
Bauer with a huge break, and a balk will be called, and that's the only thing that'll keep Joe from getting a stolen base.
Bitten by a hamstring. Well, Loesch has been a balk.
They called it a balk, and he's going to ask. He's like, no way.
Can't argue a balk, Clayton.
No.
He's showing bunt. And just
Balk.
We got a balk call.
Call made by Adam Hamari's second balk call in as many games. Rizzo really upset here.
What you're supposed to say and how much of it is legitimate. Charlie takes off for third and he's out. Bolsinger. No, they called a balk. They're calling a balk. Home plate umpire Jeff Nelson called a balk. Blackman to third. And now Don Mattingly wants an explanation.
That's a balk.
Yep, Billy called it right away.
Maybe he thought Billy Hamilton was going to get such a big jump.
And he has been.
It's a balk.
Well, Sushak will end up at second. Dodgers lead the.
They want a balk, but it doesn't look like they're going to get it. The on-deck hitter, Chase Headley, was calling for a balk there. And now they are going to call a balk, it appears, because Jacoby Ellsbury was bluffing down the line. And they will give him home plate. Here comes.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Owings at third, Pennington at second, and Inciarte at first.
Got a balk.
And we got a balk. 9-2. The Diamondbacks have scored 9 times. As
Held Jake Lamb at third base.
Big at bat for Socrates. Brito, second and third. He balked in a run. Third base umpire, the crew chief, Jeff Nelson, sends Lamb home, and it's 2-1 Diamondbacks.
Oh, they called a balk on Miley. Angel Hernandez calls the balk, and the game is tied at 3.
They called him for a balk. He started and stopped, and Tulowitzki will move to second.
Second, and Burnett caught him. The Royals turn it into a run. And now that's a balk. And maybe that might be an explanation for what happened to Dyson back in the 4th inning.
And he actually went an inning and a third in the ball game, and then Nolan took him deep. That's when he went, hey, what was that?
That was such a bad pitch, George.
It's a balk.
Oh, it was a balk. Okay. So Nolan will get to second base.
Falling. That's a balk.
Yes,
That's the game. How about this finish tonight from Petco Park in San Diego? A stumble by Santiago Casilla is a balk, and Derek Norris.
Not only hitting the long ball, he's getting his hits as well.
We have a balk, and so that will get a run home. Chu comes in from third. Mazzara goes to second base.
Sloppy track, Vernon Wells, but still. Balk called to Irvin Santana. That's going to allow a run in from third base.
Be able to drive him home from here.
9 double in the last 21 games for Andrelton.
And
That's a balk. We'll bring in Albert.
That was great. Bandy saw that right away as a catcher.
And now a balk is called on Giolito, and Granderson goes to third.
Murray got it done with a couple of strikes.
That's a balk.
How about that? Run scores. Everybody moves up a bag. Thank you very much.
Gore takes off again, and now he's going to get caught. Oh, they're going to call a balk. A balk has been called. Gore would have been safe anyway. A run will score, and Gore will get second base. The balk was called by first base umpire Adam Hammery. But how about Gore?
Even more impressive pitching as far as the Braves are concerned. And they pick off at first base, and a hammering balk instead. And down to second base goes Frank.
Doing a lot of studying before the game on pitchers' moves.
That's a balk.
That is a balk. EY had it before. Bill Welke did.
And you can see EY look down at us.
Charlie bouncing way off second. Syndergaard, did he balk? Yep, he did. Syndergaard balked because Charlie was bouncing around.
Leg out 2 triples in a game at Tropicana Field. Oh, a balk.
Yeah, and that was quickly called out there by.
Out of the way. Inside, 3-1.
For the balk.
And they're calling a balk on Miley. What was that, a quick pitch? In comes Norris to score, a bonus run for the Padres. And that jumps the lead to 7-2.
And you almost have to think that Anderson would.
That's a balk.
That is a balk. You're right.
And a balk called. That pitch will not count. Frazier to third.
That was called by Jerry Davis.
And allow a run that way.
Oh, that's a balk. So the run will score. Dallas will go to second. It's 2-0 Phillies on top. Scored 2 down here in the 7th inning.
Oh, that's a balk.
That is a balk, and you can score that run. I don't know what happened to Henderson, but he didn't throw the ball.
That's a balk. That's a balk. And the tying run comes in. Wow. So a big hit or a mistake, and there's the mistake.
In Arizona, this is a ballpark that really favors the pitcher.
There's a balk, and the Giants lead 1-0.
How about that?
Playing the rest of the year.
And it just balked.
Over the top of his hands.
And Bastardo just balked. Bastardo just balked home Ibar.
And a balk is called. A balk is called on Soria.
Once the call is made, whether it goes against or whatever, you can't throw 4 or 5 more times.
And a balk now is called, and that'll send Santana to second.
3-2 instead of check on Carpenter.
I was going to say that was awful close to a balk.
4 days. He's had really good swings.
Swing and a miss. Took something off that. Beltran way out in front.
And Clemens just balked. Matt Kemp was asking for time, and Clemens was just charged with a balk.
Baez has been called for a balk. And Contreras will head to third. And they've called a balk on a bod that will bring home Maben. He's not sure why.
Runners off first and second. The 1-0 delivery, a pickoff play, and it goes into the outfield. Didn't see it though, and backed up by Adam Jones, who had to run a country mile to get to it. And a balk, I think, has been called. And there are going to be 2 in scoring position here in a minute.
Through in the 4th. Let's see if Flowers can do something. Now Phillips trying to steal third base, is in a rundown. He thought Eichhoff balked. And was a balk called? Yes, indeed. Yeah, Phillips, I saw him raise his hand in frustration as if the call was not made.
Perdomo looking to third, and he balked.
Oh, my.
Wow. And there's a tying run.
Couple other.
There's a balk.
How about that? Take it, 1-0 Mariners.
Changed the whole game. He called a ball. Oh, there's a ball. Hayes will get a run as Alonso trots in to score.
Well, thank you, Gabe Morales. I don't know what he did, but
2 games. Runner takes off from first. The throw down. But it's going to be a balk. A balk has been called against Clayton Richard.
No homers yet this year. Another pickoff chance with a good throw. This time I think they called a balk. Yep, they did. That time Garcia's rung up for the balk.
Particularly Brandon Phillips at second base. He's back even deeper than Swanson. And a balk is called on Jaime Garcia. So Dubal Herrera will score, and going to second base is Howie Kendrick.
Most likely going to be a fastball here, 3-1. And he stumbled off the mound. It's going to be a balk.
holding opponents to a .220 average.
That might be a balk.
A balk is called, and the Astros have the run, the game's first run. Aoki's going to trot in from third.
Mark Trumbo. They look to third, and that's a balk. You're not allowed to do that anymore. That is a balk. So Seth Smith will score, and the other two runners will move up.
Napoli had the big two-run double in the first inning, and that was with 2 outs in the inning. And that's a balk. Everybody will move up. Andrews scores. Rangers pick up a free run.
No longer a save situation.
We got a balk.
They got a balk here, and that's going to bring in Benintendi. Here he comes.
Pretty easy base to steal. He's got it picked off. And a balk has been charged. First base umpire Bill Welke immediately raised his arm and said balk.
2 balls and a strike. Again, the young shortstop backs in, and I believe they've called a balk. They have. Paraclaw balks in. Ender Inciarte to make it 5-1.
Altuve hit by a pitch to start this amazing 7-run inning. And a balk is called on Belial. That'll send Reddick to third.
All we need is a catcher's interference.
There's a strike, 1-2.
Looks like a balk. I think he quick pitched him. I think he didn't hesitate for a moment. I think.
Jim, I cannot believe you didn't take that bet from him. There he goes. And it's balk. They called a balk. Yep, he did not step off before he decided to move his quick.
On the outside.
And a balk. Wow. Diaz balks home Anthony Rucker.
Wild pickoff throw. And a balk. Will move Kike Hernandez into scoring position.
On the 18th, that was their previous season high.
It's a balk, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And Travis will come in. That'll be the 11th run of the ball game, and Correa will go to second.
That's a balk.
That's a balk.
There's no one in third. Fields went to throw to third, but Turner's 10 feet off the bag.
Likely. Hey, go get him in. Hey, I thought he yelled balk. Did you hear that? Or, you know, it's so quiet in here. It could have been a fan, but that was Wilkie. That was Bill Wilkie.
That's a balk. And they've called a balk on Kenley Jansen, and he doesn't argue at all. That'll send the runner Alonso over to third. He completely forgot to because he knew it right away.